Hi, folks. I just want to say hello and welcome you to my first little presentation. I've been working with a gentleman by the name of Everett Triplett, and a lot of the things that he's made me aware of, I want to take and pass on to you guys. Basically, Everett is like a watchman, and as is said in the Bible. And but then at the same time, I see where all of the stuff that he's teaching me and talking to me about is all coming true. And I don't know if everybody realizes it right now, but there's this huge giant group of puppet masters that in turn everybody is trying to think that this problem that we're suffering today, one president, another president, what president's doing today and everything, those are just small pieces of the pie. And they got us focusing on different small individual pieces of pie when really we should be looking at the whole pie as a whole. And so in turn we take and every day we're getting all these different, through social media and different the different medias, the news organizations and everything, we're getting all of these things that are being done at a local level or state level or federal level or whatever, but that's not the piece, that's not the whole pie. And so in turn it's almost like the old magician, and the magician would come in and nothing up my sleeve, and the next thing you know, he's taken and he's showing you something in this hand, but this hand is doing something in the background that you're not catching. So in turn they put all these pieces of pie in front of us, and each one of these pieces of pie are all adding up to what the whole pie is. And it's really funny. There's so much hate, and like let's take for instance, they're opening the borders. Well, the opening of the borders is just a piece of the pie that does two things. One is they're going ahead, and we've had this global pandemic, and they've had us all social, go to your home, stay in your house, don't talk to anybody, don't go to church, don't talk to anybody, basically wear a mask, when you go outside, do your shopping, get your shopping done, turn around, get home, take your mask off and everything like that. So you're basically being rushed through any kind of public type of situation so that you don't talk to anybody. You're uncomfortable. You don't want to talk to anybody because you're afraid they're going to go ahead and give you the virus. So then now they're opening the borders, and so in turn, and then they're going to go ahead, and now the executive order was just signed yesterday that they're going to go ahead and give people in prison stimulus money. They're going to give these new people coming across the border to giving them stimulus money. And then also they have the BLM, the Black Lives Matter. Then they've got the white, the people that are that are not of color, they're white. And so everything that we're being done right now is a matter of division. They're trying to get us to hate one another, just like in Nazi Germany. They tried to create hate so that you hated your neighbor because of their religion or whatever, and so that would get you to turn your neighbor in. There was no more community spirit, anything. They're trying to destroy this community spirit in the name of the whole world government. Whole world order. Now, the whole world order has been around for a long time. And so anyway, and I just happen to have a graphic here. And this graphic is was from David Rockefeller speaking at the UN Business Conference back in September 14th of 1994. And we are on the verge of a global transformation. Now, this is back in 1994. All we need is the right major crisis, and the nations will accept the New World Order. Now, don't you think that the pandemic is the perfect crisis that's come along to help in taking and creating, to help bring in the New World government, and everything that they are doing right now is trying to get us to be divided and divide us into smaller and smaller pieces. Now, by taking and getting everybody to hate one another, and you get the Caucasians hating Hispanics, blacks hating everybody, even blacks. I mean, they even have us hating each other. They're trying to create such strife between Republican and Democrat. It isn't Republican and Democrats. It's the people that are in charge of this New World Order that are trying to bring in this New World Order. Take, for instance, defunding the police and removing the border in Mexico and Canada. Basically, what is that? It's trying to take and get rid of borders, and now we become one world rather than separate United States, South America, Africa. If we can get rid of all those borders between states and between countries, now we are creating the perfect breeding ground or whatever for the New World Order. So now in turn they open the borders. Now everybody's flooding in from all the countries. So no longer are we the United States, we're part of the New World Order that's going to be taking over. They're going to take us over. And so they're using the pandemic as this national crisis or this world crisis to take and get us all together. Now, by taking and giving convicts, giving Hispanics, the illegal immigrants, giving them stimulus money, what is that doing? That's getting the people that are in the United States now that have been suffering through this pandemic and everything, and now they're trying to create hate between us and the people that are coming into this country, because they're going to get the same benefits that we're going to get, and we've had to suffer through the pandemic, staying at home, losing our jobs and everything like that. And so now they're opening the borders. Now, defunding the police. They defund the police, and what's going to happen? They defund the police, and the police structure starts collapsing. And now, in turn, policemen don't want to be policemen. They have policemen that are on trial right now for a policeman that's on trial today, that they're picking the jurors and everything, and then they've got this huge protest going. He basically knelt on a guy during an arrest, and the guy and George Floyd died. Now, it's already proven that George Floyd did not die from this police officer kneeling on him. And that will come out in the case. But right now, today, in front of that courthouse, they have Black Lives Matter people that are probably paid to go in there and stir the pot. Stir the pot. They've got megaphones and everything, and they're talking about social justice and justice for the black people and how we should hate police. Well, if they get the police departments to collapse around the United States, what is the next piece of the puzzle, or the piece of the pie that's going to happen? Is we create civil war in this country. So the answer is to take and bring in a police force that will help get create new order here in the United States. And what will that be? That will be the blue helmets of the United Nations. Now, the United Nations just happen to be 90% or a big percentage of Japanese, Korean, Russian. And so now we have a bunch of other countries coming into the United States, creating peace. In the name of peace, they're basically militarizing the United States. And we're not in charge of it. The United States has lost control. The United Nations has, basically the United States is in all this turmoil. They have people flooding the borders. They got all this civil unrest. They've got people throwing rocks at one another. They've got black people burning down towns and stuff. And so they created all this chaos to be able to open up to the United Nations. Now, remember now, we've joined the peace accord again. We've joined, NATO and everything like that. So now we're basically ripe for picking. And so in turn, if they can create enough strife on the inside and get us fighting amongst ourselves, we're no longer united. We're no longer the United States. We're nothing more than a mob of, and a group of mobs. And so all of these mobs are going to start fighting one another. And the answer is for the United Nations to come in the name of peacekeeping, and they'll in turn bring in their armies of blue helmets like they do in every other third world country or any other country that's in turmoil or strife. And we used to be part of the United Nations, and now we are again. So in turn, what will happen is they're going to come in and save us. And when they come in and save us, then the answer is going to be, okay, now they've got everybody all calmed down, but really we're not calmed down. Basically, we're locked in our homes. We're back to being completely separated again. It's kind of like sending two fighters to the opposite corners of the ring, because it's, they're going to take a break. We gotta separate these fighters. So the referee is going to be the United Nations, and they're going to come in and put us all back in our corners. And in turn, the answer that's going to come and bring a whole new peace upon the earth is basically they're going to go ahead and make us become part of the one world order. That will be one government for the whole world, and then of course the country will become all part of this one world order. They've already said that they're going to do this, and the only way that they can take, and it's already been recited, or they have said that it will only happen one way or the other. It will happen via conquest or submission. And they know that the United States will never submit to being part of the one world government unless they can create this strife using this national emergency that's happening, and then creating all this hatred. They did it. Let's take, for instance, the last president, President Trump. Well, what did they do the whole time that they took and President Trump was in office? These group of elites that are part of this New World Order thing. Now, in the New World Order, the rich are going to get richer and the poor are going to get poorer. Basically, there's only going to be two classes, and they're going to be the people that are rich and control everything. The people with the gold, it's a golden rule. People with the gold make up the rules. And so in turn, we'll have one world order. We'll have some kind of currency. Will also start being either chipped or whatever, so that everybody can be taken and watched over. It'd be very much like the movie 1984. And basically, we'll have to submit to this new world order. America the Beautiful will no longer be the America. We'll just be the Americas. It will be part of the Americas, which will be part of the New World Order, and the one world government. And the one world government will be ruled and protected by the army of the UN. And so in turn, there'll be our police department. We won't need local police departments anymore because we'll be part of the New World Order. And so we'll probably have some kind of local police that just take care of the everyday, little things, little squabbles between neighbors and what have you. But basically our military will meld into the one world order, and in turn it'll all be controlled by the one world order. And so anyway, there's people out there like myself and Everett that are like the train engineer. The train's going down the track, and out there way far ahead we can see that the track there's a blockage on the track, or there's been some destruction, the bridge is out, and so in turn it's up to the watchman or the guy in the crow's nest to be able to be looking out there with his binoculars, and he sees the iceberg ahead, and he signals down to the wheelhouse, and the wheelhouse then in turn makes some kind of course correction, and we can still save this. This doesn't have to happen. We don't have to fall into this. But the problem that we have to do is we have to stop being puppets and being played into a state where we're hating everybody. We talk on my show just this morning about how things used to be, and we've forgotten how things used to be, or we're letting these new things we're being played like puppets. There's this group of people and we're just basically puppets, and basically we're doing everything, and we're going by the play. They're doing it by the playbook. Stalin one time took a live chicken, and in front of a group of people, Stalin literally pulled a lot of the feathers off of this chicken and made this poor chicken in terrible pain. And the chicken was still alive, and so he started throwing little bits of grain down in front of it. And even though he had taken and harmed and hurt this chicken severely, the chicken still followed him for the little bits of grain that he would have. And so Stalin made an example of that and said that no matter how much pain you take and force on a group of people, as long as you feed them as long as you give them little bits of grain, they'll still continue to follow you. Now, aren't we doing that right today? Aren't we doing that right today? It is a shame that we're taken and we've been trained and manipulated for years. Look at back, 1994. 1994, they're already trying to take and position us and get us in a position. Now, there's one more piece of this puzzle, this piece of pie. Before they can send in the UN to make sure that this happens, they'll get the people of the United States fighting amongst themselves, and then they'll create this situation where we'll be weakened to a point that they'll create this Pearl Harbor effect, and all of our enemies that could not take us over, could not win a battle, could not take over the United States as an individual. But now you have an alliance between China, Russia, Iran. All of these people are now uniting against us, and it'll become like a world war. World War III is actually started already. And basically, they have infiltrated us with traitors, and in turn, the traitors are taking and manipulating us and weakening our forces and the people that are the strength of this nation. And by reducing us and making us hate one another, now we're going to be easy pickings for. We've already let the enemy in. It was like a Trojan horse. And we've allowed the Trojan horse to be pushed through the gates, and now they've got us all hating one another. And now what'll happen is the belly of the horse is going to open up, and now Iran, China, Russia is going to come in and take us over. Now we have World War III. So it started with a small revolution of the country. The revolution is creating a civil war. A civil war, then it's becoming a revolution. And then in turn, they open it up, and now we're in the middle of World War III. If you're waiting, I talk to people every day. Every day somebody talks to me and they're saying, there's going to be a war. There's going to be a war. Hey, if you don't realize it, we're already in that war. It's just like the battles have begun. The battles have begun. We've been coerced. This whole thing has been taking place since World War II. And basically all they're doing is dividing us. Could you imagine if they would have taken and created this much strife during the time of the 1940s, and if they would have created this much strife? Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, Germany is attacking all of Europe, and so in turn now, if they would have created this same amount of strife that's going on right now, what would have happened? Pearl Harbor would have been bombed. The people of the United States wouldn't have immediately joined up and created a very strong union, and everybody from high school kids, we had men enlisting that weren't even 14 years old yet. They were sneaking in to get into the service. Everybody wanted to be a part of the war effort and save the United States, creating a situation where Japan literally woke up a sleeping giant. And so now what's happened is, in the movie or in the thing, Gulliver's Travels, remember there was the giant. Gulliver, he went to this country and he fell asleep. And while he was sleeping, all these little guys all started tying him down. Do we want to be Gulliver? We don't want to be Gulliver. We want to go ahead and be aware that this is happening. And there's people out there telling us, hey, don't pay attention to the little pieces of pie. The big pie is the thing. World War III is upon us. We're in World War III right now, and we're being destroyed from the inside out rather than attacking the outside. And so in turn, we're going to be ripe for the picking in just no time. If the people of the United States and the world don't stand up, and it's happening in other countries too. You have the same situation happening in Canada. You have the same situation happening in Europe, in France. And so in turn, it's a matter of getting everybody to hate everybody else and create a situation where all the alliances are destroyed. And so in turn, if we don't work together, we don't steer this train off onto another siding, we're going to run right smack into the biggest battle of this country, and literally the United States will fall. So the whole world will fall, and it'll fall into the hands of this new one world order that's going to come. And it's just like it's just like it's just like the Democratic Party. Here, we're going to give you this. We're going to give you this. We're going to take care of you, and it's going to be this big giant party that is going to take care of us. We're going to bring peace to the world because you're going to be part of the new world. One world. There won't be Mexicans. There won't be There won't be Hispanics. There won't be white people. There won't be Caucasians. There won't be Indians. There won't be Japanese. Everybody is going to be part of the new world order. Doesn't that sound warm and fuzzy? Doesn't that sound warm and fuzzy? But there'll be no more elections. There'll be no more. There will be no more. And the people that are in power now will take their place as part of the new ruling class of the new world order. Won't that be special? And so people that have been in office that we voted in, they're now part of that Washington elite, which in turn will go on to be, I'm sure there'll be the lieutenants and the colonels and the generals and stuff in the new world order. And so anyways, it's just a matter of Americans, we just have to wake up and smell the coffee and realize that we're already in that war. And one thing that we got to do is make sure we protect our First Amendment, our Second Amendment, and our Fourth Amendment. And so in turn, we have to take and stay strong and give up this whole idea of hating your neighbor. We got to take and start, I don't want to say loving our neighbor, but we have to start getting along with our neighbor. It's like the old days, you couple cowboys, they had different spreads, and then they would come together and create an alliance. They would create a group, a strong group. We have to become united again, and we've got to stop being played and taught to hate one another. It's just not a matter of hating. We've got to take and start loving one another. It's in the Bible. It's been prophesied that basically there's going to be this one particular army of 200 million that are going to come in and take us over. And in turn, you can either believe it or you don't have to believe it, but you can at least see what's happening right now, that there's going to be a war like no other war, and things will never and it will never end up, they're going to come in and they're going to take and make it all better for us. And, and we'll no longer, like I said, we'll no longer be the United States. We'll no longer have a U.S. Constitution. The Constitution will go out just like a piece of yesterday's trash, because now they're going to have this one world order that we're going to be living under. And like I said, they're going to take it. Like I said, we're going to fall either by conquest or submission. And so in turn and right now, the United States is literally the only country that is the chink in the armor. They can get all these other countries to sign up to it. They even got, they're already planning this world currency. They've already experimented around with the world currency and stuff, and that's what this is all part and parcel to being able to take over the United States. And like I said, we are the only country that stands in their way of this whole thing happening. And over the years, other countries have tried to take us on. And we fought off the Germans, we fought off the Japanese, we fought off the Chinese, and they talk about us being in war with the Communist Party and everything, and it's like they can't take us. We basically have been a force to be reckoned with, and our strength has always endured. But now they've come in the back door in the Trojan horse, and like I said, they're now destroying us from within. We've allowed people to get into government from these very same countries that are trying to take us over, and they're part and parcel of our government right now. And then everything that they're doing, if they take a situation, a crisis, and like I said, this poor guy, this poor policeman knelt on a black perpetrator, and in turn, he died. And he died, but he did not die from the officer kneeling on him. And now what they're trying to do is they're trying to take all these little situations. Just today on Breitbart, we had one of our Congress people that were at a rally in Washington, D.C., and they're black. And he had his guest with him that was also black, and they were attacked by the Black Lives Matters people. So the Black Lives Matter people don't particularly, it's like they pick the black lives that matter. Just because this other guy was black and he had a different ideals, they took and were going to go ahead and attack him. And if it hadn't have been for the Washington, D.C. police, they would have harmed those poor people. And so in turn, we have to stop being torn apart. We have to take and, right now they have white supremacist groups, they call them, and they're trying to turn everybody that voted for President Trump into a white supremacist. And just because you own a firearm, you're a white supremacist. And, we got to take your firearm away from you and everything. Their Second Amendment, they're going to take their Second Amendment away from you. And it's all part of this new world order. And don't fall prey to this. We have to stay strong. And America, no matter what's happening in the government, we need to take and literally we need to get in there and do some house cleaning. But because basically the Washington elite right now is part of the new world order that's going to tear this country apart. And like I said, where else could they have gotten? We've allowed them. They come in with their song and dance. They're good dressers. I posted this yesterday. They're good dressers. They're people of color. They're of another gender and stuff. And so in turn, in the trying to be great people, what we've done is we've actually depleted ourselves, and we've actually diminished our capacity. And so we have to take that back. And so in turn, like I said, America, stand strong, stay united. And like I said, we can defeat this because you have people out there that are watching and trying to make it. Hey, and if you don't believe any of this, take 2 minutes today. Take 2 minutes and just Google the New World Order, and basically this is out there. Basically, like I said, my one little clip that I put up here, this is dating back to the United Nations, and in turn, the United Nations, they have been planning this for years. So don't take my word for it. Please don't take my word for it. Just hopefully I just opened up your eyes a little tiny bit to where you'll actually do some research on yourself, and you can see where the history of the United Nations basically has gone into all these different countries that have had civil wars and what have you. And in turn, they have now started manning and getting the people to join the United Nations. Now, after you're part of the United Nations, after a while, doesn't that become a one world government order? Okay? So anyway, folks, have a great day. and the immortal words of Roy Rogers, happy trails. May the good Lord bless and keep you, take a liking to you. And I'm going to end this, and I hope you guys watch my video. Click like and subscribe. And so anyway, I'll be posting this on YouTube here shortly, and I hope you'll join me again. I'm going to do these again. I like doing this. I think it's a very important job, and I don't want the blood in the Watchman. If you don't tell the people, their blood will be on your hands, and I don't want that. So anyway, adios, bye.